Hey everybody, Ross McCroskey, former Kung Fu instructor John Partika. Today we're going to be going over some uses of some strikes that come up in Chor Foot and other Southern Kung Fu styles that hit really hard, but like are really hard to work in real life because they're things that travel in big giant arcs. So to start, we're going to go over that you can use it defensively or offensively. And defensively, I'm going to cover some head movement concepts that are kind of necessary for understanding how to make it work. So if he's punching at me with straight punches and I want to move away, I want to move towards the outside. So if his left hand punches at me, I want to move to this side of his punch. The reason being that when I move to that side, I move away from both of his fists. So he punches, and at this point in time, this fist can't get me and neither can this one. If I move the other way, so he punches and I move to this side, this one can still hit me. I'm moving away from one fist and into another. So kind of my default way of moving away from that jabbing motion is to move this way. In boxing, the way you can accomplish this is by kind of moving at the waist a little bit. It's the fastest way because I don't have to step. I can just move in place. So the motion would just be here, and I have a little bit of a crouch that moves me to the side. The problem with this is, and once I'm here, there is nothing that he can punch me with that's really a concern, because this one, neither of these is going to be able to punch me. But if we're just talking about fighting, there are things that he still can do. Things like he can try and knee me from here, like this, or he can try and pull my head down into something like this. Okay, so, man, I forget these things easily sometimes. Okay, so when I'm moving this way, to avoid that problem of bending over at the waist, I'm going to step that direction. So instead of this motion, I'm actually going to make this motion. This is kind of a triangular step because from here, if you'll notice my feet, I'm moving this way, and I'm moving my head out of the way. The reason that moving the head out of the way is a good punch defense is that now I can do what's called single time counters, meaning he punches, I punch too. Boom, like this, or in a different way. There's all sorts of them. One of them is that he does like a right cross, and I defend like this. So anyway, single time counters. This is the way that you can make the so choi actually work. First I should explain what a so choi is. In Chor Foot, it's also called a reaping fist. And usually what it does is it will pull back and down, and then it will swing through with the first knuckle this way. And the idea is to hit like this. It's also, in the Shaolin tradition, it's sometimes called a horn punch. So I can imagine the horn of a bull. It can hit with the point, but it can also hit with any part of the horn because it has a lot of force behind it. So the way I want to use this is as he punches, I'm going to do my side step, and from here, that's when this is going to get thrown. Because if I just try and throw it whenever, my main concern is that he can jab me. Whenever I throw a so choi, his jab is going to be able to be faster than this punch, and I'm going to open myself whenever I do it. So the way I want to do it is I want to wait for him, he punches, and I step here, and I'm going to be trying to punch like this. Maybe it hits his hand or his glove, and maybe it doesn't. And from this position, I'm going to be sliding my foot back here, and then usually this one will go back this way. So I'll come off on an angle away from him. And the angle I'm coming away from is kind of towards his back. So at this point, his right arm and his right side are all far away from me, and this side isn't going to be as loaded for this. So let's move over this way a little bit. So he punches, I move here, and then back, and then out. So I will do it with the footwork kind of flowing together. So he punches here, and I just step out at this very neutral angle. It's hard for him to chase me because now, from my perspective, his legs are crossed. He's going to have to shift and then come at me. So that's the idea behind the defensive so choi with the triangle footwork. The other way I can do this is offensively, and basically that one is I'm just going to try and smother his jabbing hand so that it's not a problem for me. Because if I just try and step this way, I'm coming in, I'm going to just try and come in and step this way and punch him. My concern is going to be his left hand here, is that if he has a good stance, he's going to be able to throw a hook at me. So I come in here, and I come in to do a hook, and here he's got one too. So I have to just be on it. When I'm here, the only thing that can really get me is this. So I need to do something about it. So I'm just going to use like a slapping motion here and to try and come across this way. So partly I just want it to physically be offline, so from here if he tries to punch towards me, it's not going to work. Just by a small margin, but that's all I'm looking for. So that's the idea there. It also just gives me some sensitivity, because what might happen is as soon as he feels downward pressure on his hand, I don't want to try and do this kind of a thing like a lot of people try and do when they do drills like this. I really, really don't like that, and the reason why is because what should happen here is if he feels pressure downward on his hand, he can loop it around. This is actually a drill I've seen in Sistema, which I think is actually pretty cool. And the way it works is I stand like this, and he will apply pressure here, and then he will have this hand open, and I will go like this. So he does down pressure. That's the idea here. So it might be the case that if I try and do this, he's just going to circle it and hit me here. If I really slap down, my hand's too far away, and he's going to be able to really get me when I'm here. He can clothesline me like that. So just like that, so I just want to kind of feel it here, not really knock it down, just kind of feel where it is, and if I feel it start to move around, I want to be able to adjust here somehow. So here I've made a little circle, like what is that one, like a North U kind of. That one might even be like this. So like we talked about before here, or if it bends like this. But anyway, that's the so choi used offensively. The other one is the cup choi, and this one you also need to have a sense of using these weird angles, because a cup choi is a strike that looks like this. It's the right-handed one, but usually the left hand will do something first. And it's like using the middle knuckles. And again, if he just has a jab, it's not going to work. So he has a guard up, and I try and come in like this, and that's going to hit me as soon as I pull this hand away from me, because I can't defend myself. And these are all the, if I just use that very standard straight angle, I'm going to run into it, and then I end up with posture like this, and this is the posture of somebody that's about to lose. So the way I want to do this is come in after I do my step this way. The only time I can throw this is when it's safe for me to do that, and a small opportunity for that to happen is he punches and I'm here. So again, I'm at this point, I've done my so choi, or alternatively this could have been something else, striking low, hitting with a straight punch. From this position, now I'm going to step on an angle this way towards him, and this is where my punch is going to come from here. So I'm going to try and club him on the head for sparring, or if I'm just really trying to hurt him, what I might be trying to do is after I come in here, is to come in and try and club down under his neck there. Okay, so the way that one would be is he does a jab on here, and then from this point, I'm going to step and strike this way. Here I've trapped his arm. Maybe you will get this, maybe not, it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's the idea here, is that the only way I'm going to be able to get this punch is if I'm coming in at a weird angle. I think about this one almost like a lightning bolt, because my footwork goes like this. It goes from here to here, now I'm outside of his punch, and then back over to here. So I want it to be like this, here, 1, 2. This motion is similar to what in the Dog Brothers they call a Pakiti Tersha takeoff. So anyway, that's the idea, is I step offline, I come back in, and it's something that you can do fairly explosively too. So instead of doing my Chorley foot step in this line like this, I want it to be moving here, here, across these lines where it's not really easy to stop me just by doing a jab.